Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Mr. Almighty Lewis back at you with another video. Oh yeah, and today we're gonna be talking about less connection, more division. Yes, you heard that right. Less connection, more division. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button if you like this video at the end. And make sure you comment if there's something that you want to comment about this video. You want to share your own thoughts, or you want me to make a specific video and you want to let me know about it. Let me know about it down below in the comments. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So I'm talking about less connection and more division. So here's the thing about introverts, like we, for the most part, tend to work better when we're divided, when we're left alone, when, you let this introvert do their thing, you let that introvert do their thing, and you pretty much let everybody sort of focus on their own specialty, and the problem becomes when other influences, other people, usually extroverts, because they believe that everybody else is an extrovert as well, they try to create more connection. They try to bring people together a lot. And, this seems to be sort of a thing, like, oh, you got to work together. You got to work as a team. You always got to be making connections. You always got to be bonding. You always got to be networking and so on and so forth, right? You always got to be part of some sort of group. You got to belong in some sort of community. And to some extent, of course, that will be a thing, just like, pretty much this whole entire channel is for a community that I'm trying to bring together here, which is a community of introverts. However, there are times when dividing introverts and sort of letting them go on their own way, letting them do their thing, is actually a better option, because introverts, for the most part, they have the mentality, they have what it takes to work on their own. Not only that, but for the most part, they actually perform even better when they're by themselves, because they don't have to constantly be talking. They don't have to constantly be connecting with somebody else. They don't have to constantly, be asking questions and having to, ask for help constantly, because introverts, for the most part, are very self-resourceful. And so we're very capable of just going online or going and reading a book, or perhaps we do reach out to someone, but we may reach out to them like once in a while here and there, or maybe just in the beginning stages, just to understand what we're actually dealing with here. But then afterwards, once we understand the whole core concept of things, we're just pretty much good to be left our own. And pretty much, the things that we don't know at the time, we're very likely to figure them out, as we go, because that's how introverts really work. We're, like I've said in previous videos, introverts are very good at focusing on a specific task. So let's just say, the introvert is working on some sort of video project, and so, maybe the introvert, all he really needs, the information that he needs, is he just needs to know, like, what kind of video we're making, what kind of emotion are we trying to produce with that video, what kind of what's the concept of the video itself, and what's the end goal, the end result of this video ultimately, and where it's going to go as well. That way we know the format, and because maybe we're gonna be adding a lot of transitions here and there. Maybe we need to add some music. Maybe we need to do this, that. Maybe we need to get some B-roll from somebody else. So then, that's the thing here and there. And so, we may ask all those questions at the beginning, but once we have all the answers, we're pretty much good. Like, we don't need to be constantly like, okay, is this good? Is this good? Is this good enough? Is this good enough? Is this good enough? Because extroverts, for the most part, they need that. They need to constantly be asking the other person if, are you okay with what I'm doing or not? And introverts, don't need that. We pretty much just need the core information to get it done, and we'll pretty much just go and get it done. We'll pretty much fill in the blanks, and we'll pretty much figure out the entire process on our own. We don't need to constantly be asking for validation, asking for, feedback, and pinging off somebody else's opinion just to feel better about what we're currently doing right now. We can just pretty much take whatever information we have, and we're able to implement it in whatever project that we're working on. And so this is why sometimes, having less of a connection with the person, and more of a division where, you pretty much introverts are divided into, their own specific little segments here. And this could be literal or figuratively, you can divide them in like, into different sections and have them work on their own, or you can literally put a desk here, if that's something that maybe you're working in an office environment or a classroom or something like that along those lines, right? you can just pretty much have your own little thing going on over there. And that's why, I encourage more division, less connection, because the more connection you have, as an introvert will be affected much more. If you're an introvert watching this video, you understand that you work really well when you're by yourself, when there's nobody really around, because you're able to think better. You're able to really focus on what you're doing. You don't really need to divide your attention. As we all know, introverts are very bad when it comes to dividing their attention, because we're just so good at just focusing on one specific thing. So, that's pretty much what we're gonna do. We're gonna devote our attention, our focus. We're gonna listen. We're going to understand what's going on. We're able to make calculations in our mind as we're doing something, else. Of course, given that it's within the same project. We're not jumping from project to project and stuff like that, because we just don't like doing that, because we're just not gonna get anything done. We know for a fact we're not gonna get anything done if we do such a thing. So, more division. So if you're an introvert watching this video and you're like, oh, like I feel the pressure of always having to work in a team, you always have to be collaborating with somebody else in order to get something really cool done, the answer is no. You don't have to. You don't have to collaborate with somebody else in order to get something amazing done. You can get something amazing done all by yourself, really. And this is the beautiful thing about, introverts, that introverts have that capability, because introverts, for the most part, naturally love to work. We naturally love to, grow and, create things. We're creators, and we have lots of creativity. Now, if you're an introvert here, you may be thinking, "Oh, I'm not creative. I'm not a creator or nothing." That could just be that you just haven't found your passion. You haven't found anything that you really love to do to the degree that you'll be willing to work really hard and just pretty much stick through it. Or perhaps you just don't know that you're an introvert just yet, so you may be still a little bit confused, and confusion can create a stagnation. So this is why I've created this channel. That way you can look through all my videos and you can see for yourself if you are an introvert. However, I may make a video where I pretty much explicitly sort of lay out a few details that can pretty much dictate if you're an introvert or not. That way, you understand that you're an introvert, and you can train yourself as an introvert. As I've said many times in this channel, you need to be trained. If you're not a trained introvert, then for the most part, you won't be able to embrace everything that comes with being an introvert. So you must know yourself in order to grow yourself. So yeah, but like I was saying, you need to sometimes just work alone, and working alone is fine. You don't need a whole team. You don't need to listen to all these people who are saying that you need an entire team. Sure, if you're trying to create something obviously like really massive, a massive impact, that's going to require like a lot of work, then perhaps yes, you hire employees and stuff like that. You get people to help you out as an introvert. But these people at the end of the day, they just sort of become your employees, and pretty much you just pay them and they get a specific job done. You're not really taking other introverts here, or perhaps you are. I would actually even encourage you to take introverts and pretty much divide them, like I've been saying here, divide them into their own sectors and have them do their things individually. That way, nobody's really, they don't have to interact. I mean, of course, have that open, because sometimes, usually introverts with another introvert may be very comfortable to interact with each other. But for the most part, allow them that freedom, allow them that privacy, because when they find themselves in that type of environment, an introvert just by nature will work much better when they're just left alone, when nobody's really around to really, having to constantly check up on them and tell them what to do. That actually becomes very annoying for an introvert, and an introvert just does not respond very well when it comes to that. As a matter of fact, when, they feel like they're being pressured like that, eventually, there's sort of a plan already being established to pretty much get out of that situation very quickly, whether that's at work, that's at school, maybe it's a relationship, it's just not working out. And so, an exit plan is already being planned. You can assure it. If you're an introvert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's pretty much the reality of what's going on right there. So you have to assimilate this fact and be like, you know what? Maybe having too many connections, maybe just talking to everybody is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. And so perhaps, you have to actually decrease the amount of connections that you have, because the more you decrease that, the higher the chances are that you'll be able to stay focused and you're able to stay, on your grind on whatever your purpose is, with one specific thing. Now, of course, if you're a much younger introvert, kind of like I am, then perhaps right now you may be dabbling around, you may be doing this thing and that thing and this other thing, right? And so dabbling is fine. Dabbling is amazing. You pretty much need it in order to figure out what is it that you need in life, what is it that you really love the most, and that you're willing to really take pain for and go through the struggle for, because every single journey is going to have pain and struggle. And so you just have to choose, really, as they say, you got to choose your poison. Because at the end of the day, yes, it will be a struggle. There will be times where you just don't want to do it, and you're just gonna have to do it anyway. And so that's really up to you. But dabbling itself can really help. And so when you're doing all this dabbling, sure, there might be times where, you have to drop this one thing because you're focusing on this one other thing. And believe me, that's happened to me a lot. That happened to me with this channel. I was going at it when I first started. I was just producing video after video. I was releasing like 2-3 videos a day. And eventually, I sort of just stopped because I started focusing on work, and I was doing other things over there. And then I started recording audiobooks, which, took up a lot of my time, not only my time but also my voice. And so by the end, when I finished recording those audiobooks, I was pretty much exhausted. My voice was just done, and then I had to go and record a podcast, and then I was making motivational videos as well for the podcast channel, and then I was creating music at the same time. So my voice wasn't necessarily that much available to be making all these things, so I was prioritizing those things. Right now I'm pretty much done with the audiobooks, so that's no longer a thing that I have to worry about, which is why I'm able to devote more time to this channel now. And of course, the music is currently on pause right now as well. And so that's really giving me the time to really, allocate to this channel. And so yeah, so that's pretty much that. And so, yeah, so just embrace this idea that sometimes you just have to decrease the amount of connections that you have and actually create more division for yourself. So wherever it is that you find yourself, try to create more division. Try to actually separate yourself from a lot of people, because that at the end of the day will allow you to have your own space, your own privacy, your own pretty much your own little bubble in which you can work very effectively and actually get the job done, as opposed to having lots of connections, having to take care of all these connections, because like we said, connections, relationships, friendships, all these things, they take work. And if you're creating multiple amount of them, then you have to nurture all of them, and that takes up a lot of time. And eventually, if you start devoting all your time to those things, then pretty much your purpose, whatever your passion is, will not get accomplished, because you're not devoting the right amount of time to that. You're not devoting the right amount of attention, as opposed to if you were to divide yourself, if you were to create division between people, divide people. That's perfectly fine. Like, don't feel guilty about having to divide, people. Like sometimes you have to separate yourself. Sometimes you have to make a separation between you and those specific people over there, those specific people over there, those specific people over there, because they're just not aligned with whatever your purpose is. And if they're not aligned, they can actually become very damaging to your path if you don't, if you're not aware of that. And so it's better you just create that division, create that separation from those people, because those people can actually endanger your future. And that's not what you want as an introvert. You actually want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So we just remember, you can't please everybody, you can't make everybody happy. So create the division, and only keep the people, the connections around you that actually matter, that are actually influencing your life in a positive and successful way. Other than that, create separation, create division. If right now you're pretty much forcing yourself to be part of a group, or you're currently in a group right now and you just don't feel very comfortable, you feel like they're always invading your privacy, you're always getting bothered, you're always getting checked up on, you're always getting suffocated because somebody's always on top of you, and they're always trying to give you feedback constantly, every second and stuff. If you're not already yet, start planning your exit plan, because you need to get out of there. You need to get out of there, because the longer you prolong that, the worse it's going to get. And it's just going to be very detrimental, because you won't be able to tap into your potential. You're going to be wasting time, years of your life, and years that you can be using, time that you can be using towards something that can actually make a difference for you in the future. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure you guys did. But yeah, less connections, more division. I'll see you guys in the next video.